Okay, everyone, I think we can start. We just went live on Facebook and on Crowdcast. First of all, thank you so much for the startups and for the judges for joining us today, and for the audience also who's tuning in. Today, we host the IEEE Final Pitch Competition, also during the Region 8 first virtual Student and Young Professional Congress in 2020. Before we start with the pitch competition, we'll start with a brief introduction about the initiative, what we do, and what we have been up to for the past couple of years. So to start, the initiative was launched in 2018 as a joint effort between the Region 8 Young Professional Subcommittee and the Professional and Educational Activities Committee in IEEE Region 8. And it's supported and funded by the IEEE Foundation. Our main three goals for the initiatives have been to strengthen the knowledge of young entrepreneurs in the region, in Middle East, Europe, and Africa, to provide mentorship for these aspiring entrepreneurs, and to build a competition platform to encourage them to pursue their ideas and turn ideas into businesses and startups. The first channel or the first track we launched to actually achieve the first goal, which is to strengthen knowledge, was a project called Talkspreneur. It's basically a monthly series of knowledge sharing sessions from founders all around the world, sharing their learnings about how they managed to turn their ideas into startups, why they chose to go into unconventional fields such as AI or space startups, and how they chose to actually help their community through their work and through their startups. And so far, this project has actually caught a lot of traction because it's a very effective way to connect founders from very diverse backgrounds and experiences with entrepreneurs from the region, and to connect on very basic and very relatable topics, such as the very simple questions of where do we start and then how do we move forward. Through this project as well, we managed to secure membership benefits for our audience and for our entrepreneurs that were offered generously, actually, by the founders that we featured in these talks. And from our perspective, these benefits are actually a way for our members and for young entrepreneurs to get access to a lot of learning opportunities. We're also trying to secure the same access by securing discounts on entrepreneurship summits, similar to the Web Summit that should be happening in its first virtual edition in December 2020, and in its face-to-face edition in November 2021 in Lisbon. The second track we actually worked on is the competition platform. And to do so, we started the pitch competition with its first edition in 2019, with around 25 events in 20 countries held towards the end of 2019. Each country held its own pitch competition where startups submitted a 3-minute video pitch, and each country selected their top 3 startups that then competed in the regional competition. On this note, we'd actually like to thank our massive team of ambassadors from these 20 plus countries, without whom this event or this pitch competition wouldn't have happened. Having such driven people at the level of each country or each section, trying to create an active entrepreneurship community at the level of their country is the core reason why such a large initiative such as the one we're doing could happen and actually succeed at the regional level. Finally, the 2019 competition concluded with 6 winners, 4 chosen by the evaluation committee and 2 chosen by the people on social media. And finally, 4 of these startups are now competing in the final pitch today. During this pitch competition, we actually, as I mentioned, try to involve the audience a lot more on our social media channels, and this actually had a massive and a great reaction from our audience, hitting around 150,000 people on Facebook, joining in and rooting for their favorite startups through the page. And finally, today, in 2020, we launched the 2020 edition of the pitch competition with around 50 plus ambassadors from 30 plus countries. And we're aiming that each one of these ambassadors would host a hybrid event, either an online event or a face-to-face event for their pitch competitions. And hopefully, in a year from now, we would have another pitch final for the 2020 edition. In addition to building our own competition platform, we also worked on supporting other competitions, especially when it comes to a humanitarian entrepreneurship. And this happened in May 2020, when we worked together with SITE and with the Region 8 Student Activities Committee to launch the Quarantine Hackathon that gathered around 400 participants from 60 countries and led to around 80 projects. Throughout the project itself, we supported either through sponsorship, mentorship, judging, and even now trying to work with the startups to continue on their ideas. Finally, I think it's only fair to mention the amazing team behind this entire effort. Abdulatif, Hatem, Laura, Mohamed Dalal, Saif, Binko, and Mohamed Zidan, who actually contributed throughout the past 2 years to actually make this effort happen. And today we come to the most important part of the session. We have 4 startups with us competing in the final pitch. I won't actually say a lot about each startup, just a brief introduction, and I will leave the rest to them. First with us, we have Crop Shepherd from Croatia, which is an AI-based autonomous and laser weeding robot. Plantify from Morocco, which is an app solution that helps farmers track their plant health, irrigation systems, and meteorological conditions. My Clinic from Nigeria, which is a telemedicine solution connecting users to qualified medical doctors. And Search from Armenia, which is an RFID and blockchain solution that allows customers to validate products against counterfeit solutions with a simple scan. And finally, a big thank you for our 7 judges joining us today that really gave us their time and are working with us to actually manage this whole competition. First, we have Dr. Clara Nappel, which is the Senior Director of the IEEE European Office in Vienna. Clara actually works at the intersection of academia, industry, and government to work on advancing public policy to enable innovation work in the region. Second, we have Gide Gidersen, who is the CEO and co-founder of Genomic Expression, which is a biotech company that focuses on RNA sequencing. And she is also the co-founder of Female Equity, which is a network organization for female founders and investors. We also have with us Ms. Enji Amr, who is a senior management consultant in MasterCard's advisory team for Middle East and Africa, and also the founding partner of Acumen Consulting, which is a consulting firm that works in Egypt with SMEs and with policymakers to improve the business environment for startups and for SMEs. Enji is also a serial startup mentor and a lean startup ambassador in Egypt. We also have with us Muhammad Ubaidat, who is a director at the Queen Rania Center for Entrepreneurship, with a previous experience in leading the networks programs and the startup support programs. Muhammad has also engaged and worked with multiple startups in AI and in the middleware tech fields, focusing on business and market development. He is also a certified technology entrepreneur and also a serial mentor. With us as well, our very own Mohamed Dalal, who is a serial entrepreneur, the co-founder and CEO of Innovidias, the co-founder of Decodes for software solution, and an avid entrepreneur, and actually currently the IEEE Region 8 Entrepreneurship Initiative co-founder. With us as well is Stamatis, who is also a software engineer and full stack developer with a specialization in human-computer interaction and in virtual and augmented environments with almost 16 years of experience. He is also a certified professional, Scrum Master, and an IEEE Rogers Mini MBA graduate. He is also currently the chair of the IEEE Region 8 Professional and Educational Activities Subcommittee. Finally, I think with us is also Marius Antonio, who is the head of wholesale mobile products at CETA, with more than 20 years of experience in the ICT sector. And for more than 10 years, Marius has been developing business processes and leading business development teams, as well as supporting the entrepreneurship ecosystem. Marius is also an active IEEE volunteer and is currently the chair of the R8 Action for Industry subcommittee. This is it from our end when it comes to the overall initiative and to our judges and startups. Hamad, I hand it over to you now to actually moderate and start the pitch competition.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mohammed Zaidan, one of the IEEE Region 8 Entrepreneurship Executive Committee. I would like to thank you all for joining us today in the final pitch competition. So right now, we're going to start with the first startup, Crop Shepherd from Croatia. So please share your screen and start your pitch. You have 5 minutes to pitch, followed by 10 minutes Q&A.
Excellent. Thank you, Mohammed.
Yep.
Okay, I can begin. Hi, my name is Leon, and I am the co-founder of Team Crop Shepherd, where we are working hard to bring you organic produce at lower prices and greater availability. I want to begin by giving you an understanding of a global trend that is most easily seen in these three European countries, Croatia, Bulgaria, and Ireland. That is the rapid increase in the land area under organic farming, driven by the growing demand for organic produce. In the period from 2012 to 2018, Croatia had a threefold increase from 30 to 100,000 hectares. Bulgaria tripled from 40 to 120,000, while Ireland doubled from 50 to 100,000 hectares. Because organic farming is highly regulated, names of organic farmers can be found in publicly available databases. Just in Croatia, this amounts to more than 5,000 farmers. There are three main issues working against the farmers: weeds, insects, and fungal diseases. In conventional agriculture, pesticides are used to combat each of these issues. However, in organic agriculture, the use of pesticides is strictly regulated. There are some means of dealing with fungal diseases and insects, but there are no chemicals allowed for dealing with weeds. Instead, farmers have to use plastic foil, hand tractors, and hand tools to manually deal with the weeds, or else their crops will be overgrown by competing weeds and their yields greatly diminished. And since reliable workforce is nowhere to be found, farmers have to limit their production to fields they can manage personally. The only way to expand is to use automation. So the solution must be applicable on many crops, should require only minimal human intervention, and cannot use any herbicides. There are three companies trying to provide that solution. The first is Nio Technologies. Their robot, Dino, autonomously drives to crop rows and mechanically destroys the weeds for a $220,000 price tag. Then there's Tertil by Franklin Robotics, a bit cheaper at $350, but the problem is you have to put a wire around every plant you want to protect, and it's only intended for small garden use. And then there's Bonirop by Deep Field Robotics. It works similarly to Dino, but is much smaller. However, it's still not for sale. But they all have problems. Every mechanical tool will wear out, and it can get entangled in weeds. It's hard to kill weeds that are near the crops without damaging them. Mechanical weeding requires a lot of energy, and this affects the robot's range on the field. But what if there is a better way? Luckily, my team has taken on the task of providing these farmers with a better way of dealing with weeds. The solution is this compact, autonomous, mobile robot that uses computer vision and artificial intelligence to control a powerful laser beam capable of destroying a weed in just a few seconds. without any need for herbicides. No mechanical weeding, requires minimal energy per plant, and it can safely kill weeds that are very close to the crops. To make this work, we would have to come to the field, input the GPS coordinates and the number of crop rows, and then leave the robots to do their work. If deployed early enough, one robot will be able to handle 1 hectare of land area. If the weeds have progressed, or if there is more than 1 hectare, multiple robots will coordinate their actions and work together in a swarm. One robot should cost about 2,000 euros, and a weeding service will cost about 500 euros per hectare. The first prototype we built demonstrated basic mobility, battery capacity, laser beam effectiveness, and crop and weed detection. The second prototype is under rapid development and will demonstrate autonomy, advanced mobility, and an improved laser beam targeting system. We have found strong interest from both conventional and organic butternut pumpkin farmers and lettuce growers who have to deal with weeds that become resistant to herbicides that are used. And this is our team. My job is to source components and design and manufacture the robot's frame and mechanical parts. Daniel is an expert on artificial intelligence, and he's in charge of building the neural network, while Milivoy, with his extensive experience in system integration, makes sure that all of the components work in harmony. Thanks to EIT time?
Yes, 1 minute left.
Okay. Thanks to EIT Food Seedbed and EIT Digital, we'll hopefully have enough financing to finish the second prototype, complete our customer discovery journey, and incorporate our company, but we'll need much more to acquire patents, conduct research on the effects of laser treatment of weeds, and expand our manufacturing capabilities. And then, hopefully, we can start field trials with early adopters and enter the Croatian market. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let us start with the Q&A. Let's start with Clara.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, yes. So I very much liked your pitch. I was wondering, so from EIT Digital or EIT Food, you'd already received funding?
Thankfully, yes, we did.
Okay, okay. And you mentioned that you would like to do this. So the prototype is probably now for single robot, or did you already test it also in a swarm, as you mentioned?
We are currently finalizing our second prototype. As you saw on the presentation, I would very much like to show you the second prototype, but I'm sure that you're well aware of how patenting works, so we have to be very careful about that. But yes, we would very much like to produce 10 or 20 robots and conduct experiments with swarm tactics.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Clara. So, Gita, any question?
Yes, I actually find it very interesting. I don't think that there's been a lot of innovation in farming period. So besides doing things organically, and I like the idea that you're using robots. So I think that you can expand into general farming as well. My main question is about the stage you're at. And how much funding you need to complete. Let's talk about a prototype that you can deploy at beta testing sites.
So we have 2 prototypes, and we are currently waiting on some parts that are essential for really making sure that the mechanism that we use for aiming the laser beam towards weeds is reliable, and that it doesn't take any more time than is necessary. Now we have a serious limitation that it takes 3 seconds per every weed that we destroy with the robot. And when you do the math, it turns out that we can only kill 20 weeds per square meter if the robot is deployed on a surface of 1 hectare. So this is what we have to continually improve, and this is what our project will mostly depend upon. Did I answer your question?
historical consultant.
I think the only missing piece is what, if you create that as a significant milestone, what is your objective in terms of productivity of your device, and how much money do you think you're gonna need to get to that?
So the goal is that we deploy one robot on the surface of 1 hectare, and that robot would then stay permanently on that surface, continually patrolling that surface and making sure that weeds are destroyed at the earliest possible point where they are very vulnerable to the laser energy. And how much would that cost? I think we have enough financing to achieve that. Really, our system is most valuable when it's deployed in a swarm, so we can then scale it to larger surfaces and achieve much greater market penetration.
Okay. So Gita, any question else?
No, please hand it over to some of the other judges as well.
Thank you. So let's go with NG.
Hello, great presentation. I had a question on the financials. You mentioned the price point, so I wanted to know if you had tested this price point against the potential alternatives that farmer can go to, whether it be other robotic solutions or even just sponsoring visas to bring in a more affordable labor into the country in which they're operating.
Yes, we have made some comparisons, and there are companies that have taken much simpler approaches and have proven to be more effective or more cheaper per hectare. But these robots can only be deployed on surfaces that are tens of hectares. And if you look at Eurostat, you will see that there are a little less than 1 million vegetable farmers in the EU, and that the average surface that is farmed by these people is just 1.7 hectares. And that's really interesting because most of our competition focuses on building robots that are meant for really big farmers, and they are never going to be able to cover the market like we will be with robots that will be deployed on much smaller surfaces. And you also had a question about how are we sure that we can make it at that price, 2,000 euros?
Correct.
This will come down to patenting, certification, establishing entities in various European countries. This is what will probably raise the cost significantly. But when it comes to time that is required to build a robot and the materials used for the robot, 2,000 euros is very plausible.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Muhammad, you're muted.
Thank you. So if we can go by, if any one of the judges need to ask a question, he can raise his hand and he can go on because we have like 4 minutes left. So if Obidat has any question, please.
Hello, thank you. Leon, it's a great presentation. It's a very interesting product. I have a couple of questions following up on Ingi's question regarding the pricing. You have mentioned that you are still in the R&D stage and you're having like some issues that you're solving right now during the R&D. Don't you think that it's a little bit early to define a price, even though that you have to work on R&D, so that might come up with the solutions that would make it much more expensive than now? The second question is, what type of business model you have today? Is it going to be focused on the selling the robot, or you have other sources of revenue alongside with the sales of the asset itself? The third question is, what is your competitive advantage? What's the value that you're focusing on? How will you be protecting yourself against the other companies who have been working for a long time right now on the robotics for agriculture industry? Is it gonna be only the patent, or you have something else that you're protecting yourself with? And sorry for the many questions.
Three great questions. Thank you, Mohammed. So the first one, of course, price. Yes, it's very early, and we do also believe that it's premature to form pricing right now. But this is something that has been required of us. As we have participated in accelerators and incubators, this is something we had to come up with. The second question was business models. So we have think about it, and we have three possible business models. The first one, the simplest one, is we simply sell the robots. We sell them en masse. We sell thousands, if not millions. Of course, not millions, but possibly.
Millions.
The second business model would be that we would come to the farmer's plot, and we would deploy a bunch of robots that would finish the work very quickly. We would charge that, and we would then go to the second farmer. The third business model would be that we open source our hardware solution, and that we allow people to start building this robot in various locations by themselves, and then sell the software, because this is something that without software, the robot will be completely useless. And the third question, if I remember, was what is our
1 minute left, okay?
Our competitive advantage is that we are deployable on small surfaces and then scalable on the much larger surfaces. That would be one. The second one, we have no use of herbicides. This can be easily deployed in organic agriculture, and this doesn't go against any regulations in organic agriculture. And the third one would be the sheer versatility of the laser beam. For example, we have done some experiments on Colorado beetle bugs, and they are also very easily destroyed with the laser beam. We have also conducted many interviews with farmers, and some of them have suggested that we use the laser to kill unnecessary flowering on strawberry plants. This is something that is done on the first year the plants are put in the ground, so that you don't have yield, but you have very strong root on the plant that is developed.
Thank you.
That would be that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So let's go with the second startup, Plantify from Morocco. Please share your screen.
I have a question before you go to the second.
Okay, could you? Okay, you have 1 minute, please. Okay.
Yeah, I know. So nice presentation. I've seen the previous one, and it's far better. So I have to ask, what's the charging time of the batteries, and then what's the operation time with one charge? And the second question, have you identified any stakeholders in the path to move forward? Thank you.
So that's very good technical question. That will depend on the model and where the robot will be used. If the robot is used, for example, in vineyards where we have slopes and tall plants, then of course we'll have to charge the batteries. On a farmer will have to do that, and probably in 2 or 3 hours would be enough. But if deployed on the big surfaces with small crops, no higher than 20 centimeters, then we can afford the luxury of mounting a trailer on the robot and putting a solar panel that would be strong enough to charge all of the batteries in 4 to 6 hours of peak sunlight time. So these are the two alternatives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. If we can start with the second startup, please share your screen, Plantify from Morocco. Can you turn on your microphone?
Hello.
Okay, great.
So hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. So today I have the pleasure to present to you our project, Plantify. But before we start, I just want to attract your attention on some alarming numbers. Do you know that 20 to 40% of the world agricultural production is destroyed every year due to disease and parasites? And that the developing countries, including Morocco, have lost the equivalent of $95 billion of production in the last 10 years due to the same problem. As you can see, plant disease is one of the biggest threats in the world of agriculture. And it's due to the lack of information about the states and the needs of the plant. So the farmers right now are forced to do many round trips around all their farms to check continuously about the status of their plants, which is really time consuming and less efficient. And when we talk about disease, we also talk about propagation. And the really late diagnostic could be fatal for the farms. So as you know, that there are multiple diseases that can propagate really quickly and can affect all the production. And to avoid them, farmers right now just try to use some sort of pesticide, but they can affect badly the quality of the production. So what if we propose to the farmer a solution that can help them to get the status of their plants in real time and get notified for every suspicion or anomaly detection? Would they be satisfied? If it's the case, Plantify is the solution based on the coloration and the evolution of the plants, and also from the data collected from sensors of humidity, acidity, and temperature. We give to the farmer a global view around all his farms and get alarmed for every possible risk. So as you can notice that the anomaly detection part in our solution is divided into two parts. The first one consists of analyzing the data collected from the soil and the air via the sensors. And the second one consists of analyzing a sample of image of plants via a little camera attached to the device. And all the information would be viewable in a simple mobile application. So about our market, we have already got the confirmation from our 21st customers who have tomatoes area. As you can notice, we are focusing right now on farmers with this type of area, tomatoes. We are doing a momentum strategy. We will try to get the trust of our current clients and then expand the market into different types of plants. The next year, we will try to keep on the same way and work with some other clients and keep the maintenance with the previous one. And then in the last year, we will try to expand our market into different types of plants. So currently, we have already a prototype that is working on one plant. And we will try to finalize it by the end of this year to work on an area. The next step is that we will try to move from diagnostic to prognostic on tomatoes area. And this will be due to the data we will be collecting in our first 6 months with our current clients. And then in the next 2 years, we will just try to extend our solution to work in different types of plants. So this will be divided into 2 steps. The first one, we will try to work with some types of plants who are a little similar to tomatoes, like vegetable growers. And in the next step, we will just try to extend the solution into other types of plants. So our team is composed of 4 software engineering students, Khalil, but with complementary skills. Khalil Idris as the CEO, Mariam Majbar, our source of innovation, as the product designer, Snanu has the one who contacted all our current clients as a marketing manager, and finally, our beloved software engineer, Amin Mustafa. So here you can see some achievements of our 4 members. As you know, we were the national champion in IEEE Region Entrepreneurship, finalist in the International Create Challenge in Martigny. About a problem-solving challenge, we have a national record in IEEE Extra Programming, where we ranked 58 among 4,000 teams. GNG Day and Girls Code gold medalist, and finally argent medalist in the ACM MCPC and Codis. So all of this would not be possible without partners. So we are doing a partnership with the University Mohammed V, Campus of Innovation, Agricultural Critics, and also DINRA. So here you can see a little prototype that we have done. And finally, I just want to conclude, keep your plants healthy and safe with Plantify. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So if we can start with Marius. Q&A. Marius, are you with us? Okay.
Hello, I am with you, but I was trying to unmute. Okay. My question is, you said that you have 20 farmers and you are trying to go to more plants. Have you made a questionnaire? I mean, have you made the market research and you are ready? I mean, right now you said you have an MVP. So how do you plan to expand and check on your potential market? And the second is that have you been able to find some other stakeholders that are interested in your idea? So, I mean, I want to see the stage of the idea and how you plan to go forward.
So right now we are dealing with an estimated area of 66k meters square in our first year with our 21st customers. So every device will work on an estimated of 500 meters square. Preparing each device will cost us around $1K, which means that we will need around $15K to work with our first clients. About the stakeholders, we have also contacted the Ministry of Agriculture in Morocco, and we have some promises.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maurice. Can we go with the Stamatis right now?
Yes, hello. Well, I've seen many such solutions for agriculture. So I want to ask you, what's your competitive advantage over the competition, and if you have any intellectual rights, etc., so that can protect you from the competition? Thank you.
Okay. So right now, our competitive advantage is concerned in the algorithm and the innovation, and also in the place we are now. We are in Morocco. We don't have so much concurrence. It's like we are right now. There are no other companies that is working on plant disease in Morocco, but there are many initiatives of different young startups that have been focused recently in applying AI in agriculture. At the moment, we are working on a blue ocean, where there is not similar concurrence dealing with the same problem. So the farmers today just try to call an expert every time they suspect something. So our competitive advantage is more in the innovation.
Okay, great. So let's go with NG. Can you hear us, NG?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. My question was in terms of integrating it to other solutions. So at the moment, it monitors and it notifies the farmer. Do you envision in the future it being able to do things like turn on irrigation or change the temperature of the greenhouse? Or there solutions at the moment in the market in MENA doing something similar? So like, are you aware of your competition and where you stand vis-a-vis their solutions?
Yes, we are aware of this because after doing a market search, we found that there are multiple startups who are working in the irrigation parts and different parts. But in the plant disease parts, we are the only one here in Morocco that we are. That's why we try to focus on this way. So we have also the data collected from some customers, and that's it.
Okay. Great. So can we go with Dalal? Dalal, are you with us?
Sorry, I'm muting. Hi, Khalil. How are you? Very nice presentation and very good idea. Can you elaborate more about the financing? How much do you need, and the streams, the revenue streams, and how you will accelerate this? So as I understand the MVP, and you will be applying on 20 potential customers. So how you will be sustaining this and accelerating this? Thank you very much.
Okay, as I said before, we have an estimated global area of 66k meters square from our all 21st customers. So as I said, each device will cost us $1,000, which means if each device will work in an estimated of 500 meters square. So which means that we will need around $15K to start with our first client. So as I said also that we have some potential partners that are that gives us some promise for the founding.
Okay, great. So Mr. Ubaidat, do you have any question?
I only have one question, which is referring back to the financials. Khalil, how much would it cost a farmer to install the system, and based on what you calculated the number?
Right now, we are still in the part of developing the algorithms, and we didn't contact them about how much can we sell them the prototype.
So you're doing the MVP testing right now free of charge, just for the purpose of collecting data?
Yeah.
I see. Thank you, Khalil.
Thank you, Vedat. So can we go with Gita?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Excellent. So first of all, I really enjoyed the presentation. I loved your energy, and I think that is a lot of the things that is get this to fruition. I also really like the idea and the fact that you already have deployed this. I don't care so much about whether they pay or not, but you are going to generate data that supports your claims. My questions is typically around, what does it, how long, how much do you need in financing, and what kind of milestones? I liked your little timeline, but you didn't put in what you could do to improve it. Is just put in, I need this amount of money to get to this point, this amount of money to get that point. So maybe you can answer that question.
Okay. So as I said, so right now we are still focusing on the prototype and developing the algorithms in a better way. So if we talk about how much do we need to elaborate so much prototype for our clients, is $15K, 15K. About something else, we don't have other idea.
Okay. Thank you, Gite. Let's go with Clara. Any question?
Yes, hello. Thank you. I also very much liked your presentation, and I think there were a lot of questions on the financing. So I would be interested a little bit on the technology. First of all, I wanted to ask if you are working together with experts in order to provide the right accuracy. And also, when you say you started with tomatoes and you want to change it to other vegetables, would that mean a complete retraining of your model, or would you like, so do you try to use some other technology like transfer learning or something like that?
Okay, so I will first answer why did we choose tomato, because tomato is the second most consumed vegetable in the world. So each year there are more than 130 million tons each year are produced in Morocco. This culture occupies a central place as it's the predominant crops of Moroccan agriculture. So the sector has a significant socio-economic impact, that it provides thousands of jobs there and incomes for many families. For the technology part, the only thing that we will need after is the data. Right now, we are focusing also in tomato because there are such diseases like powdery mildew that can affect all the production. That's why we have chosen to work on this types of plants. But after it will be just a question of data.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Khalil, for that. Thank you, Clara. Let's go with the third startup, My Clinic from Nigeria. So could you please share your screen and start your pitch?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Hello, Mr. Mohammed. I am unable to share my screen. Can you add me as a host?
Can you add him as a co-host, please? Khalil, if you're still sharing your screen, please close it.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's done.
So you are a co-host right now. You can share your screen.
Yes,
Okay,
so
great.
thank
I
you
can
very
see
much.
it.
I'd like to apologize. It has
No
been raining here tonight too. So I'd like to conserve bandwidth. So I'm not going to share my camera. I'll just share the screen.
No worries.
Okay. So thank you very much, everyone.
Actually, I can't hear you.
My name
I'm sorry, Alio. We can't hear your voice. There's like interruption. Yeah. Okay, sorry for that, but I'm gonna mute you right now and go for the next startup till you get your connection in a good way. So I'm sorry again. So let's
Mohammed, let's please go to the next startup and we'll start to do the projection from our end for my clinic, and we try towards the end to only have him use his audio without sharing the screen.
So let's go with Jebisert from Armenia. Please, if you can share your screen and start your pitch.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Let me share my screen. So you can see presentation, right?
Yep, I can see it. Could you please share your screen again?
So you can see my screen.
Yep.
Which screen? You can see the presentation?
Yeah, I can see the presentation.
Oh, okay, so hi again, everyone. I'm Roman Zakian, co-founder of startup called GBCert, and we see a world where everything is transparent and secure. There are $1.4 trillion worth of counterfeit goods circulating the world, from fashion to electric brands and prescription medicines. The counterfeit industry is stealing money from brands and providing inferior and even dangerous products to consumers. Over 1 million deaths every year from fake products. In GBCert, we are devoted to protecting brands. We do this by combining microchip and blockchain technologies. Products can be manufactured with a unique microchip inside or on the product. The chip is linked to information about the product on GBCert blockchain network, a complete secure platform which uses a decentralized encryption database. Consumers can then scan the chip using the brand's app to verify its authenticity and get product information. The blockchain provides a unique code which changes every time the product is scanned. This makes meaningless to copy or duplicate. It will also show you when the product has been opened and added to the blockchain so no one can use the product. GBCert technology helps brands deal with counterfeit products and empower brands to maintain consumer trust. What does this mean? If we can reduce the amount of money the counterfeit industry makes every year, all that money will go back to the brands. What else can the brands gain? The GBCert database technology records information from every single scanned chip, providing information on the users, their location, and product they have bought. They can use this data for analytics and on what is the best-selling product, live data on markets, and what time customers are using their products. The microchip also can be used for supply chain and warehouse management, reducing the overall labor cost and time spent on stock control. Okay, now a bit more detailed information about the product. Depending on the type and industry of our client, we offer different kind of solutions. Chips can be integrated in the product, can be used as a label, and can be added in PVC card. Our technology can help to overcome COVID-19 difficulties as well. Here are the companies with whom we are actively work or they are already our clients. For an anti-counterfeit purpose, we are targeting brands and producers from nearly all industries worldwide who suffer from counterfeiters or using some security tools. These companies are around 25% of all producers. Companies who are using GB Cert are getting lots of benefits. They increase their product value, they track products and connect directly with end consumers. They collect data and much more. Saucy Extract is our client and they produce around 1.5 million products annually. By using our solution, they manage to solve their problems and 10% revenue loss with counterfeiters and manage to optimize their logistics cost by 3%. They get the data about their product scans and they can use this info to connect directly with their end consumer. Also, they can use data for their further market analysis and statistics. So why we are innovative? First, we cover all the weaknesses of other competitive solutions like holograms, QR and barcode, and offer other features which our competitors can't do. Our competitive landscape is interesting as the companies who are using blockchain and RFID are mostly involved in logistics, marketing, and in other spheres. Other companies who are in counterfeit market are using two-dimensional technologies which are not working properly. We are like in the middle of two different industries and solutions. GB Cert can help countries to open borders as it can add an extra security level for COVID test results. We will link these results to chip and chips will be served as a secure one general proof for that person is negatively tested. We already got a positive feedback from Armenian National Committee of Aviation and we soon can start piloting this use case. For these solutions, we are targeting all international airports. US market alone can provide up to $100 million in revenue. Opportunity to scale here is big. We believe by the end of 2021, we will reach 2 million USD in revenue, and in just 5 years, we will make it 40 million. Currently, we are raising 500K investment, where 70% will be spent on marketing, 30% will be spent on operational costs, like visiting clients, employing people to help connecting with potential clients. So far with GBCert, before COVID, of course, we participated in international expos in Qatar, in Hong Kong, and took prizes in prestigious events like World Congress of Information Technologies, Eurasian Digital Platform, Seaside Startup Summit, Chainpoint, and more. The team behind GBCert is diverse and consists of professionals. We are operating now in Armenia, United States, and in Hong Kong. Our product meets 3 UN Sustainable Development Goals and Eurasian Economic Union Digital Agenda's 2 directions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Roman. So let's start with the Q&A. Let's start with Clara.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation as well. So here I have the same comment that was said before. I had the impression that I have seen these kind of solutions already, and you mentioned that you already have a patent. So I see that you compared yourself with competitors which have RFID technology and so on. But what about those who are already using blockchain for counterfeiting?
Okay. So let's divide your question into 3 parts. For the patent part, we don't have patent. We have a provisional patent and waiting for the full patent to be granted to us. It will be for Europe, we hope this year, for US in 6 months. So for the comment that you see this kind of solutions a lot, yes, you're right. Everybody can order RFID chips through Amazon or eBay, other platforms, and can use this. But what we did is we made meaningless to copy the chip. Everybody can duplicate the chip, and many companies are focusing on how to protect chips, which is like, for us, we think this is meaningless because if somebody can make this chip, they can make the duplicate of it. So we made meaningless for the counterfeiters to copy. If they made, for example, 100 copies of the same chip, and after the first scan, all chips which are the copies will be outsynced and will show not valid. From the competitive market, RFID mostly is used in supply chains, logistic process management, and other places. So nobody thought before us to use this for an anti-counterfeit purpose by combining it as in blockchain. So what does this mean? We have a secure database where we keep the ownership of the chips and an algorithm which makes meaningless to copy, which is a combination of RFID technology. Could I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Clara. Let's go with Angie, please, if you have any question. Angie, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Great presentation. I had a quick question. You had a slide where there was a lot of customers from the US and from Europe.
Yeah.
At the moment, what would you say your month-on-month revenue growth was? And what percentage of your your lead rate or of your costs was actually being covered with revenue? Because I'm trying to determine how realistic is your investment ask versus funding that you could do from scaling the current operation and growing your revenue.
Okay. So currently our burning rate is around 4,000 USD monthly for our clients from Europe and US. Currently we have 1 3 and 1 5-year contract with 2 big companies who will demand from us up to 100,000 chips monthly. In total, this is more than 1.2 million USD aggregate revenue in this whole time, 3 to 5 years. So for the investment perspective, we want this money to enlarge as soon as possible and to take even one whole vertical, like for the cannabis industry, which is new and there's a lot of opportunity and there is no big player.
Okay, thank you, Roman. Thank you, Angie. Can we go with Ovidat, if you have any question, please?
Well, I just have one tiny question. It's a great presentation and you're tackling a huge challenge. It's a big challenge that everybody's facing today. And the counterfeiting has been a big pain right now for the medical industry. And I've seen that you mentioned Pfizer. Pfizer already worked on blockchain and tracing for counterfeited products, but from the prescription part, not from the product itself part. Do you have any information on that, or do you know how you can capitalize on it? And you're saying that they are your customers currently, or you're testing with them?
With Pfizer and Henry Schein, we are now talking with their wholesale manager, supply chain managers, and there is 2 different things with them. They have an issue with the supply chain and they have an issue with the counterfeit part. But the counterfeit part is regulated by lots of standards. And we are now trying to find a solution which will meet the standard and which will help them to optimize their logistic and supply chain processes. They are using actively one of our competitor solutions, Systex solution, and their solution is not working properly. It shows information like 70% it is fake or genuine one, and this not gives the confidence that this is a real product. And we see a huge opportunity here to enter the medicine market and supplements as well.
And that's your competitive advantage against your current competitor that works with Pfizer, the accuracy.
Yes. They are working with QR codes only, and to implement their solution requires lots of hardware costs. Their clients need to buy lots of cameras and to install in their production lines. And at the end, the consumer will get 70% security.
Roman, this is a great idea, honestly, great timing as well, because the FDA they just regulated that, and the tracing is really important. Good job.
And that's why we see not everything is secure, but we see everything is transparent, because transparency means security as well. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Vedat. If we go with Stamatis, if you have any question. Can you hear us, Stamatis?
Yeah, I was in mute. I said I'm okay. Go on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If Marius have any question?
Actually, the question I have is, okay, by not having, excuse me, let me press my camera. Okay, you have explained that your competitors are using different technology, and you just answered a question, but can you define one more time your competitive advantage compared to your main competitors so that you can build on how you plan to make your potential revenues? Okay, you have a contract, but I want to just see again an explanation of the competitive advantage you showed us during your presentation. And my second question is, you are talking with regards to data that you are giving to your customers. How do you safeguard that customers are allowing you to get the data with, since we have the GDPRs and other rules with regards to personal data? Or you are just aggregating those data in order to give them to your customer? So these two questions.
Okay, from the competitive advantage and what added value we give to our clients. These are these are the, in aggregation, whole advantages which we give and which our competitors are not giving. Like when somebody is using holograms, they cannot track their product, they can connect with end consumer and get data. When somebody is using, for example, RFID, they can get everything besides security and ability, like to be protected. When somebody is using QR, it's the same. They don't have enough security. So for the sorry, what was your second question?
My second question is that you said that you are providing data from end users.
Yes, for the GDPR. Okay.
Yes.
So there are two options. First, we ask users to share their data. If they are not agreed to do that, we keep data not personated. We connect with end consumer by sending them push notification. In that case, we don't know who is that user, but we know that this user is interested in alcohol or in other industry.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you, Marius. Gita, if you have any question, you have 40 seconds left.
Okay, quick question. I was thinking when you presented this as a way for the supplier to track the use of that device, because I'm embedded in some of the regulatory space there. What about the GDPR rules? Aren't you infringing consumers' rights to their data?
The main issue with GDPR is that information is kept personated. But for our case, we have an option not to keep this information personated. We have just in our database, user number one, user ID number one. We don't know who is he. We just know his interest and ability to connect with the application he installed. So there is no conflict with GDPR regulations here.
Okay. So thank you, Gita, for your question. And the Q&A time is finished. Let's go with the last startup, My Clinic. Thank you, Roman. My Clinic, can you please share your screen, or if you want, we can share it.
No problem. I think I've got it covered now.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone. My name is Aliyu, and I am from myclinic.ng. So basically, our vision is to enable every African have access to a qualified medical doctor from anywhere and at any time within 15 minutes. So to help you truly understand the problem we're solving, I'll give you a small story. In July of 2016, 16-year-old Amina Ibrahim died after self-medicating with the drug Septrin. She died of a disease known as Stevens-Johnson syndrome. You see, Amina did not know that Septrin could cause Stevens-Johnson syndrome. These are the sort of things that only a doctor would have known. So why then did Amina choose to self-medicate? Why did she not simply just go to a hospital and see a doctor? Perhaps it's because it can take as long as 6 hours just to see a doctor in a public hospital in Nigeria. it also turns out that it can cost as much as $30 for a single outpatient consultation in a private health facility in Nigeria. To put this into context, that is more than half the monthly minimum wage. You see, long waiting times and high out-of-pocket costs constitute significant barriers to access to healthcare in Nigeria. This then forces the bulk of the population to resort to dangerous self-medication practices. So, and that's why we built myclinic.ng. Our mobile applications enable our users to hold online video consultations with qualified medical doctors from anywhere and at any time. And for those who do not, and for the millions of Nigerians who do not own smartphones, and those who are in places where there is no internet connection, you can simply pick up your phone, dial our toll-free numbers, and talk to a qualified medical doctor in your local language. And because we understand that not all cases can be handled online, we have partnered with a network of hospitals, pharmacies, and laboratories. So this ensures seamless patient referrals when the need arises. We make our money by charging patients around $3 to $4 per user per month. We also make some of our money as a result of the percentage we take from each referral. So basically what the patient gets by using our service, the first thing is convenience, because we're able to adequately manage most outpatient cases without the patient ever having to leave his home. The second is accessibility, in the sense that the millions of Nigerians who do not have smartphones, the thousands of kilometers of Nigeria where there is no internet access, these people are still able to pick up their phones and talk to a doctor using our own platform. And this is where we're doing something truly, truly unique in our customer acquisition. First of all, we are leveraging on the largest network of primary care providers in Nigeria, which are the community pharmacies. So in this arrangement, a user is simply able to walk into a community pharmacy, sign up on our own platform, use the device in the pharmacy or his own device to talk to a doctor, and then get his prescription sent directly to that pharmacy. Second thing we're doing is we're working with health insurance organizations where they pay for our service. We extend the service to their customers, and it is offered as a value-added service to some of their customers. The third thing is we're working directly with corporate organizations. For instance, we just signed a deal with Nigeria's largest non-interest bank. This would enable us to service 80,000 of their own account holders, and they are going to pay us in return. The market size for telemedicine worldwide is estimated around $34 billion, but of course, this is expected to grow as the world embraces more of remote work and due to the effects of COVID-19. Of course, we're not the only ones in this market. There are a number of other players, but I can say categorically, we are the only players that enable the user to talk to a doctor when he or she does not have internet access. This enables the millions of Nigerians to pick up their phones and talk to doctors in their local dialects. We've got significant traction. We've got more than 181 doctors signed up so far, more than 3,000 downloads on the app stores, and we've completed close to 4,000 consultations within the last 4 months. Right now, we have a fully functional cross-platform product, more than 2,900 users. As I said, we've just signed a deal with the largest non-interest bank in Nigeria. This should add an extra 80,000 clients on our own platform before the end of this year. So we've got a fully functional product with Android applications, iOS applications, with a web app, and also a toll-free number. This all goes through our integrated telemedicine gateway. Right now, we're around 2,900. We would add around 80,000 users before the end of this year, and we expect to reach at least 200,000 users by June of 2021. So we require around $30,000 to fund this growth to 80,000 users. The money will mostly be used for operations and for further marketing and, of course, further product optimization. And here is the team. We have a highly competent and highly disciplined team composed of individuals with varying but complementary skill sets. Individual competencies include medicine, software engineering, and, of course, finance. And of course, our work has been recognized both within and outside Nigeria. For instance, we came as one of the most innovative startups of the just concluded NITDA COVID hack. As a result, we are working directly with the government of Nigeria, where they are funding 250 staff from selected parastatals, where we get to deliver our service to those government staffs. Yeah, and thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you. So let's start with Dalal. If you have any question, please.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for your presentation, and actually congratulations on the IEEE Next award. I know that you got awarded like a few weeks ago on your startup, so keep it up, guys. I just have one thing. what's your next big step? So if you will be winning this competition, so you have a plan till the end of 2021. What's the next thing? Like, I know I have been to Nigeria before, so your plan is to cover 80,000 people. What's next? You have like more than almost 200 million people in Nigeria. Do you have a model for expansion?
Yes, sir. Thank you very, very much for this. So as at present, like I said, we just signed a deal with a bank in Nigeria. This would give us around 80,000 users also to add on to the platform. So the thing for us right now is we're trying to further understand the market. We do not want to rush any further into other, what would I say? We don't want to bite off more than we can chew as it stands. So we're going to focus on servicing these 80,000 clients, give them very, very good service, and hopefully use that network effect, so to say, and grow our user base organically. As for long term, perhaps maybe towards the end of 2021, we have in the store, we're developing what they call remote medical consultation booths, which are sort of like hospitals in a kiosk. They come with integrated suite of sensors, and that further that increase the quality of telemedicine. But these are more of long-term goals. So we have to finish on this software part before we go on the hardware part. So right now it's customer service first. That's the biggest thing for us.
Thank you very much.
So thank you, Dalal. Let's go with Clara. Do you have any question?
Yes, well, thank you very much for the presentation and also for this very useful application, especially now in times of COVID, I can imagine. I have one question just, building up on what was discussed before. When you go outside or even in Nigeria, I can imagine that this is a very regulated ecosystem, and especially in other countries, I know, especially in Austria now, that is really, let's say, you need to break into this whole infrastructure, how the patient, the care should be with the patients being on site and having regular contacts. So did you already encounter such kind of problems, and do you think you can solve this when scaling, also out in Nigeria and outside Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much for that great question. Yeah, so this was actually the same thing we expected before we entered the market. But to our greatest surprise, Nigeria has little to no regulation as regards telemedicine, little to none as it stands. So what we're doing is largely as regards regulation, we're drawing from regulations that are already in place in South Africa and regulations in Canada specifically. So Canada for the up-to-date international practice, and South Africa because the setting is more close to Nigeria. So we're using a hybrid of regulations to sort of like guide ourselves. But as it stands, we are in close engagement with the Nigerian Medical and Dental Council. So we're hoping that this initiative would serve as a catalyst for positive regulation going forward, basically. They don't have regulation now, but we're engaging them to ensure that when this regulation comes into play, it would hopefully work in our favor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's go with Stamatis. Do you have any questions?
Yes, what's the biggest health problem in Nigeria at the moment?
Thank you very much. So in the absence of COVID-19, the biggest health problem in Nigeria are the communicable diseases, things that could easily be handled, basically, things like malaria, typhoid, just these things that could easily be handled if there was good sanitation and probably good education going forward. So these are the communicable diseases. Probably after them, you have other non-communicable diseases like cardiovascular conditions. But right now, the biggest health challenges Nigeria faces are from communicable diseases, things like malaria, things like typhoid going forward. And these are things that can, in most cases, be handled remotely as long as you have close integration with laboratories that are able to test and confirm for these conditions going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's go with Amidat. Any question?
Thank you, man. It's a very nice presentation and it's really cool. I can see already there is impact and you thought of every single aspect. But I just have a question, like what's your future plan to compete? Are you thinking about a regional level? Are there regional competitors for you in Africa, or you're thinking about competing globally? Are you aware of the global competitors? Or is it just a solution that you're going to offer in Nigeria and you're focusing the...
Okay, yeah, so thank you very, very much for this. For us to be very candid, first of all, everybody on the team has worked at one point or the other in the Nigerian healthcare landscape. So we understand in depth the problems that Nigeria faces. And so for us, the biggest thing right now is, of course, we like to make money and going forward, but it's about social impact. There's just so much to do in Nigeria as of right now that we have not started focusing on a regional level. And of course, Nigeria is a very big country, more than 200 million people. So there's still a lot to do in Nigeria. However, we're still mindful of the international landscape. Of course, you've got very big players in the US, things like Talk to Me Doc going for. These are very, very big players. But overall, if you look at the telemedicine market worldwide, it seems to be very, very fragmented. You've got big players in the US, some big players in China. You can hardly point to one big multinational telemedicine company going forward. And this has to do with a lot of challenges with regulation, cross-border medical practices, things like language and stuff like that. So these are things we would like to take. We would like to, what would I say, cross those bridges when we get there. For now, there is just so much to do in the Nigeria market. And there's also, of course, a lot of money to be made. So our focus is largely right now because there's so much to do in Nigeria. We're focusing right now on Nigeria. Perhaps going forward, maybe in the next 2-3 years, when we have done as much as we can here, we start looking outward. But for us, there's a lot of social impact to be done there, and that's what we're trying to do at the moment.
Great. Thank you. So, NG, any question, please?
I'm good, actually. I don't have a question this moment.
Okay, great. Gite?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So first of all, I love what you're doing. I'm obviously coming from the healthcare space, and access to healthcare is such a big, important thing. So I applaud you for addressing that. I also really love your solution, and I know that telehealth, due to COVID-19, is here to stay. I really don't have any significant questions. I know this is necessary, and I just want to applaud you for doing it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate it.
So if we have the last question with Marius.
I'm fine as well. I want to congratulate them for the solution that provides access for healthcare, and it's important, it's very well understood. Okay, my question with regards to scalability is answered. So very good job, and especially in these times of problem with health and with COVID. So I don't have any questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And here we have come to the end. I would like to express how proud I am in these startups. Just as you passed all the previous stages and reached this stage is a success in itself. And before we finished, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you who generously helped us make this event come together to become a success. So thanks judges, thanks startups. Also, the winner will be announced as soon as possible on social media platform, and officially it will be announced in awards ceremony on September 26th. So stay tuned, and thank you.
Thank you.